Hi everybody, Zach here for another episode of our flagship program, The Spideydude Experience. This episode is brought to you by our loyal patrons over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Pledge today and get both early access to content on the main channel, as well as entirely exclusive content, like brand new shows and commentaries, including commentaries for the MTV series, for example, as well as the video editions for Voices from the Eyrie Gargoyles Podcast. And our Patreon first show focused on the Krakoan era of X-Men. We also want to encourage you to check out our other programs that are all available on Audio Edition. These are all over on Spideydude.com, and they're available on your favorite podcasting app. Shows like Clone Saga Chronicles, the show that started this entire network, Spectacular Radio, Spectacular Sal Buscema era podcast, Amazing Spider-Man Classics, the Slot Symposium, and the sister program on this channel, Make Mine Mayday. As always, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help us big time in the algorithm. And additionally, if you have topics you'd like to cover on a live show or in a recorded medium, make sure to leave a comment down below the description or shoot us an email at SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Finally, make sure to join our community. Be alerted to all new updates by hitting that subscribe button and clicking on the bell. But to be clear, your viewership is more than enough for us. And if you want to hang out with us off YouTube, you can always go to our Discord, where we have all sorts of fun stuff, or you can join us on our social medias and follow us there. All the links are down in the description below. As always, we want to be making some references to visual aids and or live comments. If you're an audio listener, pay that no mind, but leave that 5-star review for us. Any and all feedback we will read on future episodes. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get rolling with this episode of the Spideydude Experience. And we are back here on the Spideydude Experience. I am your friendly neighborhood host, Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood webmaster of Spideydude.com. And as always, I am joined by a cavalcade of guests here on the show. So without further ado, let me introduce them. First up, we have Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello, Zach.
Next up, we have, I don't know what we have here, but the TGOM, the real Grumps. The grumpy old man.
Wonder how long it would take you to figure that out.
Shut up. I was figuring it out as I was saying it out loud. Leave me alone. And finally, we have Amazing Baby, who is suspiciously looking like Black Panther from Secret Wars.
Yeah, it's Assad Ribic.
Okay.
Also, very fitting because Assad Ribic just drew Black Panther and Aliens versus Avengers. So
That's true. That's true.
Everything comes full circle.
So we're going to have some things to talk about tonight. As we get into it, we're going to talk some news. We had a couple of new books that were announced yesterday, and one of them has garnered some controversy. And we're going to talk about it. All right. So we got some people already in the comment section. We got Sarah. We've got Ryan. We've got
The guy who's already in here.
Yeah, so blame Zach for us being late. Give him a little love. Yeah. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about. Now we can actually see show the comments on the stage. By the way, so that's something new. All right, so before we get into ASM's 5 and 6, Volume 7, let's talk a little bit about a couple of things that were announced yesterday. So first up, we'll talk a little bit about some JMS stuff. Yeah, JMS is coming back. The Amazing Spider-Man Torn is a 5-issue limited series. Now I'm going to share my screen here in a second because I want to go to the post. I don't want to. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm pulling this from Spidey-Dude.com, which is the place you should get all of your insights, especially when I actually post things that Marvel sends me.
Yes.
So, J. Michael Straczynski is going to spend an all-new series, all-new Spider-Man Saga and Amazing Spider-Man Torn. Superstar Spider-Man writer teams up with artist Pierre Perez. An Amazing Spider-Man Torn, a 5-issue series launching this October. Now, the thing that I find interesting about this particular storyline, I like the Adam Hughes cover, by the way. I think that's kind of cool. Is that will reverberate into the present from the past.
We finally get the origin of Hellgate.
So swing back to
I think
Spidey's
that would
college
happen
days
anytime.
at Empire State University with Gwen, Harry, MJ, and Flash. Spidey takes on classic villains, but JMS and Pierre introduce a terrifying new villain, the side of the Marvel Universe that will reverberate into the present from the past. Now, does this mean that we're going to see more JMS? Question mark. What does everybody think about this particular bit of news?
It's an untold tale. All right.
I'm good with it.
No, it's
I'm excited.
JMS.
I'm excited about it. Like, I really am. I'm looking forward to JMS writing Spider-Man again. I think it'll be good. So, don't know if it's an untold tale or if it's a untold tale from.
I mean, it explicitly says it's an untold tale.
Yeah. So,
And Jess asked in the chat when it takes place. It takes place in that very vague era of ASM where Peter, Flash, Harry, Gwen, and MJ are the Coffee Bean Gang, and there wasn't a blonde going off a bridge.
Basically, the early 70s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I kind of wonder if this is like JMS writing a story that he's always wanted to write, which,
This is his original brand new day pitch.
Yeah.
Please no.
Please
Please no. Please no.
So there's that. I'm looking forward to this. This one I'm actually looking forward to. I like the Adam Hughes cover. I think it looks cool. I like how you have the painted element in the background, kind of photorealistic there with those Spider-Man in the foreground. Always looks good.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I guess we're going to talk about is probably
My favorite announcement.
It's definitely my favorite announcement, but it's not everybody. What was that?
It's the opening
was the
theme.
90s
I know that
theme
was
song. Oh my
like
God.
his lame attempt at being Joe Perry from Aerosmith. I know. All right, so we got the announcement of Spider-Man 94.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, brother.
inject this into my veins. It is going to be written by superstar, that guy that writes a lot of indie books called JMD Mateus.
You know that guy.
Yeah, I think we've talked to him once or twice. I love this cover. I adore this cover. I'm sorry. This is like, if I'm gonna buy one, I think I'm gonna have to get this cover, like, out of them all. Because inject that in my veins. Like even the sticker gives me like KB Toys nostalgia vibes. Like, yeah.
I think Zach is the reason why Marvel thinks they can keep getting away with just selling people on nostalgia. I didn't hear a verbal reply, which means I'm correct.
I mean, if
No,
they're
well,
gonna
I
tell me
just
this,
flipped
I'm
you
all
off.
in.
If you're an audio listener, I just flipped him off and hit my mic while doing so.
He says he saves his one F-bombs for me because he has to tell me the F all at least once during the show.
Yeah, exactly. I do like the Ron Lim homage cover of Spider-Man Unlimited #1, except instead of Carnage over the city, it's Venom. We are Venom. So
Tony Todd.
back from the dead.
Oh shit!
Oh,
That was dark. I'm so sorry.
yeah, you like digging your own grave, Zach. I swear.
How was it that I have more restraint than Zach? That's
Well, yeah. Ryan Reed says it's the long overdue Doctor Strange story. Yeah.
I feel like JMS is gonna put in Doctor Strange and everything he can until he somehow convinces Marvel to let him do it. And if not, somehow he'll go over to DC and do a Dr. Fate story. He wants to do some magic somewhere. He doesn't give a shit where it is.
Stay for the sound effects, Sarah. It's actually been a year since I got to meet Sarah. Fun fact. So a year ago today, I actually got to meet Sarah. So I introduced her to Whataburger.
This episode is not brought to you by Whataburger.
Definitely not. Time to break out my tie-on, comb my hair back, and put my Goo Goo Dolls album for this 94 series.
You want to hear something really sad? I had to buy those damn toys for my kids in '94.
Well, that's.
I mean, they had great articulation, all 4 points.
It was 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the wrist.
No, you got the elbows, the single elbows, single knees, and the neck. Okay, and they also had the somewhat butterfly.
Granted, I didn't have to put stickers on those as compared to the damn Power Ranger toys. Maybe burn in hell.
Well, to be fair, Vinkman, I didn't do a good job of setting the stream up. So, and Sarah loves Whataburger.
Hey, we just got a Whataburger here in South Carolina.
Yeah, you can thank the communists from Chicago buying Whataburger and now spreading it out everywhere.
Isn't that imperialism?
I mean,
But don't pick on the former political major.
yeah, well, even more said, I had every one of those 90s figures, even the exclusives, and I sold them all in 2014 to pay his property taxes in Illinois, which, you know.
Yo, there's some motherfucker over in the IRS branch in Chicago that's playing with those things right now.
Well, don't feel bad. I had all the original Star Wars.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, I don't have them.
Oh.
George Lucas has those. He's laughing at you right now.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a big announcement. I think a lot of people, it was very unexpected, came out of nowhere, came out of left field.
Well, Jess, capitalism and imperialism are tied together inextricably.
Okay.
Let's not talk about politics, please.
I'm just saying he put it in there.
I know. I started this whole thing. It's my fault.
Anyways,
but so then there was somebody that was a little sour,
miffed,
a little upset.
I mean, I would be, to be fair, I would be too if I, was the head writer of the show and I've written comic books before. I would also be a little perturbed that Marvel didn't call me up and say, "Hey, you want to write this?"
Okay, I'm going to counterpoint this. I'm glad you brought that up, but let me kind of set it out there. So, because
that was because when Zach does this thing, it usually ends badly for him.
What?
Go on. I'm not going to say. I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, you just mute yourself. All right.
I have no idea what's going on.
He's making fun of me for that one time I got beat by Kevin in a debate that I wasn't expecting to actually happen. So I've got John Semper's statement here.
Okay, we don't have to go through the whole post. We just have to say he wasn't consulted on the comic and he's missed. So I feel like that's the short and sweet of it.
Right. TLDR, he's upset that he wasn't even asked. Now, you guys can read it up on the screen if you're watching us live on YouTube. I did pull it up so that way you guys could see it. I did appreciate JMD Mateus's response. I thought it was very classy. But my problem, this goes into a bigger problem I have with Semper. Okay. There are certain things that Semper should get absolute credit for. Things like the symbiote altering the personality of the wearer. That's 100% the 90s show. The symbiote coming from outer space and not Battle World.
While I will give, while I do think that taking credit for Spider-Verse entirely is a bit too much, I do think that Slott gets too much credit for it, because I think that Semper did at least come up with the original concept of variants of Peter teaming up to fight a larger threat.
And that was going to be my next point. Like Spider-Verse, absolutely.
It was also Kingpin.
And to be fair, I think I'd be a little pissed off too if I was the guy who laid the foundation and then some random guy from like 2010 gets like all the credit, and some other random bald guy from 2010 gets all the credit for the movie adaptation.
Right.
That's Brian Michael Bendis.
You got problems with bald people?
No, I'm just saying they're bald.
So again,
I think John Semper might have a problem with bald people, but not me.
I do think that Semper does deserve to get some credit for certain things. Where I kind of get annoyed about Semper, and I guess I just instantly reacted with this, was what Jess Punk just said, which is that Semper tries to take too much credit for stuff. He tries to take credit for Black Cat's relevance, despite the fact that Black Cat had been around for 15 plus years. He tries to take credit for Venom being popularized because of his series, even though Venom was popularized before his series ever was even a twinkle in his eye. Look, as an adaptation of the 70s and 80s Spider-Man, it is a brilliant and beautiful adaptation. It does a great job. It does a great job in terms of serialized storytelling, something that we had never seen in Spider-Man cartoons before.
And I will give him credit that he worked around the Fox censors.
Right. He did a great job on doing a lot of things. I will absolutely give him credit for even using the obscure characters like the Spot. 1000%. But when he tries to take credit for things that because he's so desperate for recognition, he is taking credit for things that don't even have anything to do with him. I get a little perturbed and irritated. And I knew as soon as this was announced, I literally was talking with the Clone Saga Chronicles crew. And Josh, without missing a beat, went, "Oh, Semper's going to be pissed." And then like 15 minutes later, Semper puts out the statement. And the statement was a little passive-aggressive, especially towards JMD Mateus.
I didn't think it was passive-aggressive toward JMD. I thought
he went back and edited it. That's the thing.
Well, I didn't see it edited. I just saw that like he was like, JMD wrote an episode of the show, and I have no problems with him, etc., etc. Yeah, that was what I saw.
So
on Instagram, at least I read it on Instagram. So
I read it on Facebook first.
I do think there are people who are assuming that this story will answer how Peter found MJ. Well, I honestly don't think so. For one,
Thank
because
God, man.
One, we need to get over it. MJ is not the center of the universe. For one thing, get over it.
I don't need to see them. I don't really. Everyone's like, "Oh, this huge cliffhanger that's been hanging over our heads for 20 years," and it's like, man, like,
well, and it's funny because X-Men 97 already solved the issue. He found her. Yeah. They're just hanging out in the street watching Asteroid M fall.
It's not really a cliffhanger. It's pretty. I mean, the show wraps up pretty well considering like they're gonna go find her. Like we don't really. I mean, yeah, I guess people want to see it. Like they need to see it. But it's like, we're gonna see it in this comic, which is gonna be probably. It's not. I mean, they're saying, "Oh, it's the next season of the show," which is great, but it's like not really going to be the next season of the show. Like, it's just going to be a thing that'll be a really well written thing and a well drawn thing, and it'll be a fun time. And there you go. Like,
I did reach out to JMD to see if he wants to talk about the book.
I saw that. I'm sure he will.
So if
you got to get him on for that,
yeah. I mean, we'll work on getting him on and everything like that. Neil, you got the email too.
You know what this reminds me of?
I didn't get an email.
I blind copied you today. I just did it like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
You know what this reminds me of? First time my kids went to see the prequels for Star Wars. And they like, "Oh, have you heard of this fantastic movie named Star Wars, Dad?" Mm-hmm. And me just looking at him going, "Really?"
No, I just found
really?
the email. Okay.
It's because the old guy sitting here is quiet as a clam while the three people 10 to 20 years younger than him are freaking out about something from their childhood.
Okay, at the end
My
of the
childhood.
Because Neil's the baby of the group. But here's the thing. The thing about the ending of the 94 series is very similar to the ending of the Spectacular Spider-Man. They're both open endings. To where if they had gotten another season, they would have picked up right where they left off. They wrote an open ending to where if they did get the other season, great. If they didn't, then you can write the story in your imagination. Right? Because people are still talking about it 25, 30 years later, or 31 years later, almost, from when it was released. So I get it.
I would say the spectacular ending is way more bittersweet than the 94 one. The spectacular one is like, oh, like you really want more of that. But I feel like the 94 ending is like it
wraps up Peter's arc pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think if people really want a cliffhanger, they should talk about Unlimited, where like they run out of a building and then all of a sudden, oh, here's a volcano full of symbiote.
Right.
Fuck you.
Well, and that was because they canceled it after 13 episodes. They had a 22 episode order. So, yeah, well, and MTV does have a very depressive ending. By the way, if you want to hear us talk about that depressive
Jesus,
go over to patreon.com/.
Jesus Christ! How do you flip into fucking Walter M. Goggins from Righteous Gemstones mode? Like it's a habit. It's a reflex.
But listen, I mean, if there's an opportunity for a segue, I'm going to jump in. It's fine.
That wasn't even an opportunity. That was just like, oh, I'm going to make
one. It. I know.
Listen to your producer, Zach.
Yeah. No.
But here's my take about this, really. Okay, both the GMS and this thing, I'm gonna wait for the books and decide if they're entertaining like anything else, because I'm a cynical, grumpy old man.
I mean, that's your bit. So. Never get mad at a man for committing to his bit.
Well, don't be mad at the man who's still waiting for someone to wear a certain outfit either.
Talking to you. Amazing.
Yeah, I know.
But
not offering a raise.
But the reality is, this is a whole.
He looks like Spooder, man.
Reality is the whole nostalgia thing. Okay, that's what you're playing to. Look how all worked up y'all got about the '94 comic book.
I didn't.
You're reliving the nostalgia bit. Okay, something from your childhood that you'll all remember fondly and all that stuff. That's what Marvel's been playing at for a while now. It's all about nostalgia. Okay. Now, is the stuff going to be good? That remains to be seen. I'm just going to reserve judgment until it comes out.
Well, and here's my thing, and the reason that I get why people are like, well, Semper should have wrote it, right? But at the same time, Semper has no relationship with Marvel, has not had a relationship with Marvel in decades. Every time a Spider-Man related thing comes out, it becomes, I got to tie it into my animated series somehow because I got to get it, that bit of attention. I mean, Vinkman and I are kind of on the same wavelength here. He says in the comments, it's not just wanting recognition, something he should get, but it's that he has an ego problem. No matter what he's talking about, he has to be the center of attention. Everything you read on the Spider-Man animated series is eternally excellent, or his personal public Facebook page. It's all tying back into, and sometimes you get some really great insight. So don't misunderstand. It's not like it's a terrible read, because there's sometimes where he will give some really nice insight into the series. And I love that. As somebody that loves the DVD style commentary that we never got, the fact that we never got the series collected on DVD in its entirety outside of the US, or outside the rest of the world, not in the US. Like it's a travesty that was never collected. All these things can be true at the same time, but you have no connection to Marvel. Whereas JMD has consistently, for the last 3 years, written a miniseries for the Spider Office. So this just happens to be the next in the series.
They're all like 90s series too.
Yeah, they have a common theme. All of them have a common theme.
One, I'm kind of surprised that everybody's surprised that a comic book person, whether it be actually a writer or someone who did a show, has an ego. Can I just say one name?
Oh, say it.
Dan Slott.
Say his name and he appears.
That's not Dan Slott. That's Greg.
What's up, Greg?
Hey, Greg.
Thought I would just stop in and talk about the news, because this is huge news, and you've been hearing my thoughts throughout the day.
Yes. So here's the thing. Like, Greg and I have been chatting back and forth in our private chat with the rest of the Clone Saga Chronicles crew, and so I appreciate you jumping in on this, because again, I get what you're saying, Adam. Would it have been nice for Semper to be able to write this story? 1000%, and I agree with you on that. Do I think it sucks that Marvel didn't attempt to reach out to him? Sure. Multiple things can be true at the same time for me.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to say, and this is what I've been saying. I think Semper should have gotten first right of refusal for this thing, out of respect more than anything. That being said, I think the reason why he hasn't is because he tends to behave the way he does online and on social media, which is not a good thing. You don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. I know it's tempting. There's a lot of bullshit in this industry, the comics industry, the animation industry, but you don't want to end up in a situation like this. I mean, J.M. DeMatteis is going to write a really great book. He almost always does. But my thoughts on this are just, again, the podcast that I host and the guy who we have on there for every episode, he's writing the comic book continuation of his show from that same era. You want to know something also? He's never engaged in public Disney bashing.
Even though he probably would have a lot of grievances at Disney. Okay.
No comment. I mean, he's spoken his mind on the
opinions of that. I'm just saying that as an outside observer, right, who doesn't know all the insights and all the ins and outs, like, yeah, like.
Are you saying that Darth Mickey has a far reach?
Yes. Dude, Marvel had I'm sorry. This is just a complete aside. Marvel had a far reach even before Disney was in control. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I mean, Greg, you might know where I'm going with this. I'm not. He's not a friend of mine, but a mutual acquaintance from the old message board days. They called him up on his unlisted number. And was like, knock it off, you jerk. So, like, Marvel has had an army of lawyers, definitely since the bankruptcy. I mean, Isaac Perlmutter is like the most petty ass man in the history of mankind. Okay,
I guarantee you, Marvel has plenty of private eyes on their payroll, and if they don't, Disney does.
Right. I mean, the Greg hack is a great example of that too. So
I have no idea what happened with that. Hopefully, they caught that asshole. But
I mean, we really don't know. But I mean, it's
what people need to understand: who owns the IP. That's who gets the final say about everything with that.
It is true. I mean, I'm of the opinion, again, like I said, Semper should have gotten first right of refusal. He probably didn't because of the way he behaves. But, like I said, the podcast I co-host, Gargoyles, and again, same era, Disney owns it. As far as I'm concerned, it belongs to Greg. At the same time, two things can be true. I mean, and I'll also say this. If that comic had come out from Dynamite, which we love, by the way, he's writing it, if they had gotten another writer to do it, we would have been much more ambivalent about it. I can say that also. So people are going to be ambivalent about this thing because it's not Semper.
Yeah, they already are, yeah.
And honestly, I think they have the right to be. But, I love J.M. DeMatteis. I'm going to check this thing out.
Yes. I mean, I think everybody should take the stance with any book coming out, including Amazing, which I know Zach doesn't have the guts to do this. I'm inviting you officially, Greg, to be part of the show. I mean, every book that comes out, we don't know if it's going to be good or bad.
No, we don't.
Schrodinger's comic.
I mean, it's like on YouTube, you got people trashing comic books that are not coming out until freaking August. You got people
clickbait.
You got people trashing movies that haven't even been released yet, that you don't have no clue if they're good or bad.
That's
right. It's such an easy thing to do, to feed the mob, but it's a lot harder. Like I choose to do is to wait for the product to come out and make a judgment. I mean, 10 years ago, I would just bash Amazing Spider-Man and not read the book. Okay, just because of one more day. 20 years ago. Jesus, I can't believe it's not been that long. Jeez.
Hold on, someone's yelling at me in the comments right now.
So, okay, Jess is technically, on a legal level, Jess is correct that right of refusal doesn't apply because Marvel is work to hire. I think what Greg is getting at is that he should have.
It's nice to be asked.
It would be nice to be asked, and he should have had the honestly he doesn't deserve it by virtue of he made the show, but I think maybe they should have reached out to him and said, hey, you want to do this thing for us, and then if he refuses, then they go to the next guy. I understand that
maybe they would have if he didn't behave the way he does online, especially over the Spider-Verse movies and everything.
I was about to say Marvel doesn't have a legal obligation.
No, they don't. I never said they do.
Exactly. And this kind of reminds me of Henry Cavill should still be Superman debate. At the end of the day, who owns the IP? Warner Brothers. Who owns the IP of Spider-Man? Marvel/Disney. They get the final say.
They do.
They don't.
They don't. But I'm also
the reputation of these
very, very pro artist. I'm more pro artist than I am pro studio and pro megacorp, and that's just the way I am. That's what you're going to get.
Okay. Well, I was about to say, Greg, and look at the history of how they've treated the writers and artists.
I agree.
Marvel, Disney.
And I don't like any of that. It's not a good thing.
And them not asking him, why are we surprised?
I'm not surprised. I never said I'm surprised. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure maybe they wouldn't have anyway. Maybe his attitude had nothing to do with it, but maybe they would have if he didn't behave that way.
It's one of those things where if he had made an effort to reach out to Marvel when they were doing Spider-Verse and said, hey, is there anything I can do to help contribute to this? I think it would have been probably well received. And if that had been,
if he didn't do that, if he just said, "Hey, go see this thing, go do
right.
this," meanwhile he's on, and he's allowed to be proud of his series. He should be proud of his series, but he refers to his series, my Spider-Man series, as I call it, the good one. And I didn't do this, but I remember we heard someone say, it was our friend Adam, wanted to say, I'm tempted to reply to that with saying, "Well, Spectacular Spider-Man is the great one," and I said, I'm a huge Spectacular Spider-Man. I said, don't do that. I don't want to play these games right now. I have my preference. We all know what my preference is. By the way. But, yeah, different Adam. Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like we should feel lucky that we got both of these great Spider-Man shows.
The fact that we have two shows that are arguably two definitive, that are argued which one is more definitive between the two, I think is a testament to the excellent work that both groups achieved. It's a testament to the achievement of both groups. We don't often see that. You look at DC, it was pretty much the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, mostly same clear line through all those different series. And then you get to Young Justice, which was something that was radically different. And
I love Brave and the Bold also, but for very different reasons.
Yeah. Also, I do want to point out that just because the original creator gets their mitts on a comic revival does not mean it's going to be good. Just to point that out, because you brought up Batman the Animated Series. What was it? Batman the New Adventures Continue, the one that came in during COVID, introduced Red Hood and stuff. That was absolute dog shit.
Who wrote that?
Dini.
Oh, well, first of all, I have to throw this out there. Dini is not the creator of Batman.
One of the main people on the show.
He was one of the main writers, but Bruce Timm's partner on that, who was in charge of story, was Alan Burnett. You hardly ever hear about him because he's not an attention whore like some friends of ours are who do other podcasts with us, as well as people like this. You don't see Alan Burnett going out there and doing that many interviews, but Paul Dini worked for him on that show. He, again, I guess he's just a very private person, Mr. Burnett. So, but he just doesn't get enough credit. So I just had to toss that out there.
Yeah, because I mean, that's something that we've discussed. I know you guys have discussed on Voices, because you've had several people that worked on both, right? That worked on both Batman the Animated Series and on Gargoyles.
Chandler on, who wrote episodes for both.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those. It is a relevant topic, especially on the show.
And Frank Parr directed for both shows. Frank Parr was a co-producer on Gargoyles, and he was a director over on Batman. Artist for the new Demona series, right? Yeah, and a storyboard artist on X-Men, the animated series back in the day. He's been all over the place. So and supervising director of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We love Frank Parr.
Yeah. So should we talk about the Frank Parr thing that we were gonna eventually do, and we just never got around to
it? Not yet. Not until it's a thing.
Okay, all right.
And FYI, I prefer attention seeking compared to attention whore.
Well, I am a giant whore.
It's a joke. I'm joking.
Wait, hang on.
I think the dog's got you beat, Zach.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is Marvel and Disney and everyone should treat their talent better. I think we can all agree on that. I also find it, and if, like I said, if some fans are not,
it's not even their talent.
I agree. Well, you know what I mean when I say that. Writers are talent. Writers are talent.
Can add on to that, Greg, because with the recent passing of Pad, it really disturbs me how Marvel treated him.
Yes.
The family is still struggling to this day. And Marvel corporate and Disney corporate, and I'm going to use my one, have done fuck all about it. And it's disgusting.
I agree.
This man created so many memorable stories that they have profited off of. They've used in films. I mean, come on. It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
I guess I'll never be hired by Marvel either.
It's just,
And again, like I was saying, if fans aren't into it because it's not December, I get it. If Weisman wasn't writing that Gargoyles comic, I would probably not be buying it. But at the same time, though, and like I said, out of respect, I think they should have gone to him first. I get why they didn't, because quite frankly, the way he behaves, the guy's a jerk. He made a great show. He's a talented guy.
Without passing moral judgments, because I don't follow Semper as dedicatedly. I think the behavior probably warrants a second look at it, just to make sure that he's playing ball. I don't really have much to say other than that. I'm kind of here to just talk about Amazing Spider-Man and not how we got.
I'll be out of here soon.
Well, it was a big topic.
No, I know, but it feels like we're like half an hour into this.
I know.
So, I extended it.
Good.
My fault.
I'd rather talk about
Pepe the Rod.
I want to talk about the comic equivalent of the first Transformers movie.
I want to finish your military hunt with Skybound. When are we doing that?
Yeah, I'm getting to it. Oh, Jesus Christ.
The old man wants to talk more Transformers, okay?
Okay, the old man just put the young man in his place.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the old man. Walter, aren't you older than me? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Walter is older, but in this case, it's an A-B conversation when it comes to you and Transformers, okay?
He's relevant.
So, okay. All right. So with that being said, I mean, I felt like it was a discussion worth having. The last thing I did want to bring up was the response by James DeMatteis. Just to throw it up on the screen, I thought it was a classy response because he everything that James DeMatteis says is right. He's like, without John Semper, I wouldn't have this book. So like, he was very, very complimentary about it, and I just feel like there was a tale of two
Spideys. God, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, that was also in the press release that came out yesterday as well. The tale of two.
Spider-Man is escaping to the one place capitalism hasn't ruined: space.
Yet.
Well, they're working on it.
Not if Bezos and Elon Musk have anything to say about it.
I'm a massive Babylon 5 fan. Speaking of JMS and J. Michael Straczynski, and I'm going to buy that book too. If that is our future, capitalism is going to ruin space.
Anyways, for the 975 is the anniversary issue.
Yeah,
Peter gets after the most dangerous villain Peter's ever faced. He's going to space for a bit with a new character that will sell merchandise, just like Jeff the Land Shark, Symbi.
Listen.
It's like a little symbiote thing. I don't fucking know
what it is. So the Jeff the Land Shark thing, that's not official. That's just rumors and innuendo. So
what? No, I'm just saying that Jeff is made to sell toys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love Jeff, but I'm actually kind of shocked Marvel hasn't like capitalized on him as aggressively as like Baby Yoda or something like that.
Oh, we haven't seen the new MCU movies yet, have we?
。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . . . 。 . . . . 。 . . . . . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。
Oh, there's like the fucking cat, right? from the Marvel movie.
Oh God, Goose! Yeah, the cat. They tried to push that for a while.
But what I mean is that
Herbie's next because of Fantastic Four.
All right.
Yeah, so Spider-Man's gonna be accompanied by this weird little creature. It's a Smormu from Smiling Friends. Tyler from the Crawl Space did a really good image of text. No, I really, really, really don't want Simbi to 555-0100.
So these are the covers that they sent out.
That's Simbi right there in the bottom left.
Yeah,
I don't.
He's so happy.
What? He's just a little birthday boy. Don't get mad at him.
That's is that?
So the idea, I think, is that this is like the new edgy Spider-Man that's going to be taking Peter's place while he's in space. I don't know why he's in space.
Find out on An Amazing Spider-Man number 11 and number 12.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to this.
So, yeah, check out the covers where we provide the first ever look at Simbi. Pre-order the series at your local comic shop.
Don't you want to buy hundreds of Simbis?
I think the cover.
I don't even want to buy a Marvel Legends of Simbi.
So this is the Ed McGuinness cover, by the way, of issue
Good.
12. And then this is.
I don't know who some of those characters are.
So this is the new design of Spider-Gwen.
That's what I thought. I thought that was her.
That's the new design of Miles.
This is the new design of Miles.
That's the new design of Anya.
That's Anya?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Anya.
she's back to being Aranya.
She's back
again.
being Aranya.
Okay.
And then you got
Hold
Spider-Boy. And then
Yay.
Yeah, I was saying. I know who she is, but yeah.
Yeah, she's the only one.
Shout out to
She's
Tyler.
the only one in her original. Well, her and Baby.
Yeah.
But like she's of
Also,
everybody
stop
else.
changing Miles' costume. The one
He's
who
only had
the
2 costumes in the
that.
last 3 years.
Keep it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need another Spider-Man character that has 17,000.
Yeah.
No, wait, hang on. I'm forgetting they have an Insomniac game coming out before the end of the decade.
Give
They
me
have
the
to
Reebok
manufacture
costume.
as many costumes as possible. Otherwise, we're stuck with Insomniac originals, and we can't have that.
Listen, the Insomniac originals are almost universally ass. Like giant ass. Like a freaking look.
Okay, we don't need to elaborate on the amount of ass.
Ass. Like, listen.
Can we save the ass for the giant-size issue already?
All right, I'm going to get
eventually-
going in a bit, but I just want to show off my latest Spidey acquisition.
Yeah. He got him a
What is that?
Maximum series.
How's that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's a
so,
Maximum series. I got a good deal on that. I paid $30 for it.
Oh,
There you go.
nice. Now, I got to say, apparently in those rumors innuendo, we may be getting a black suit Maximum series Spider-Man next year. So, stay
I'm
tuned.
sure they're going to want to repaint this.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. All right, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
All right, you have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for the cameo appearance there, Mr. Bishansky. And
You're
listen to
very
welcome.
From the Eyrie, a Gargoyles podcast, only on the Spideydude Radio Network, and video versions over on the Patreon.
Join our Patreon. Give us money.
Please.
Give me money.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right, buddy. All right, and then there were four little spider pumps.
Soon there'll be 3 after I get through this book.
Oh.
Do I
Well, you
really
didn't
look
read-
like
you
a
didn't
punk
read-
to you?
No, I read the Spectacular Spider Swinger, and I really don't care about it as much as other people do.
All right.
Because
so
I'm not a fucking psychopath. I go outside and touch grass and talk to people.
And pick up Fireball.
He hasn't picked up Fireball in ages. Speaking of, all right, fireballs. We've got
A fire sword.
a flaming sword of doom. So, Neil, would you like to give the recap for issue 5?
I would love to. Okay, so last time on the second best relaunch of ASM since Volume 5, but that's not really a big compliment. Peter Parker is at Rand Industries, but Iron Fist is dead. Oh well. His best friend that we never heard of before, named Brian, who looks like George Santos, gave him a job with someone who looks like Monet from X-Men. Also, he got drugged by Hobgoblin in Seinfeld's apartment. Itsy Bitsy's there because Joe Kelly really likes his OC and wants to remind us who she is. Norman's there too, and he's kind of just giving Peter like man in the chair advice. He's like Ned from the MCU, but old and not Genki from Miles's book. Spider-Man goes to the Coke factory. Somewhat of a joke there. I don't care. And he goes through a drug trip and comes out stronger. And Hobgoblin goes to kill Peter's friends that we just met 2 issues ago. Written by Joe Kelly, art by Pepe Larraz, and colors by Marte Gracia. Rand Enterprises. Sure wish there was an Iron Fist there, but he's dead. Hobgoblin breaks in through the ceiling, and what's this fucking lady's name?
There's
Myra Osmani Milton.
Kind of an unnecessary name. I don't know. Do we really need the hyphenated thing? I mean, I'm not in the real world. It's fine, but I feel like this is a comic book. Make the name simple, right? I mean, I don't know.
So, anyways, Monet from the X-Men and George Santos are encountered by the Hobgoblin, who's ranting about the Millennials and their pickleball. And Hobgoblin's on his way to kill them, and then Spider-Man drops him from the roof and says, "Fuck you, bitch. I got off my high."
Dude!
But not really. What?
Watch the F-bombs!
I don't care. We're like an hour in.
Okay.
The ad revenue's not gonna come from that one.
Okay. That's true.
So anyways, Hobgoblin and Peter fight. Dr. OM, because I'm going to call her that because I don't care to memorize her whole name. She's not going to be in this. She's not going to be in the book past this run, so I don't have to care.
Yeah, I think that's what Brian calls her, or like Dr. Ohm or something. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. She
it's
says,
unnecessary.
"Hey guys, meta-human shooter in the building. Get to your little pods. We'll see them later. They look kind of stupid because it just puts everyone in one place." Anyways, Peter and Hobgoblin keep fighting, fight. As Hobgoblin explains, his plan was to drug all of New York and then use a drug that's already on the market to make a cure.
Capitalism.
Yippee! The enshittification of the drug economy. First it came for the tech, then it came for medicine. Dr. OM and George Santos are running away. Unfortunately, Santos didn't think to upload the files to the servers, and he just has them on the laptop, which makes him a very convenient target for Kingpin. Dr. OM messages her stepspawn, who calls their stepchild stepspawn. That's really weird. And Hobgoblin corners them, and then Spider-Man fights him again. Flashback to when Peter was a kid. They promise to have each other's backs for all those times that Brian was never mentioned in the 60 plus years that Spider-Man's existed. Brian comes back and saves the day with the 1-up mushroom from Super Mario, and Peter kicks it into his face, and Kingpin freaks out because he's hallucinating spiders. He's covered in spiders, man. And he gets the crap kicked out of him by Peter, and Hobgoblin runs away. That's great. Brian takes a selfie. Norman kind of goes over the whole plot with Peter, and they go, "Oh, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get Hobgoblin. We're gonna sue him into the ground or something. I don't know." Peter goes to Aunt May, and Aunt May is like, "Oh, Peter, I know that you were high, but you're pushing me away, and I don't like that." And Peter says, "Nah, I like having free meals." And it cuts to the alien.
You're making shit up, Neil.
Yeah, I know.
They reconcile again for like what, the third time?
They reconcile for the third run in a row. Jesus Christ!
Third opening arc in 10 years.
At least this one didn't feel so like with like Peter's plagiarism accusation and Peter like disappearing for 6 months. This feels a lot less severe. This is more just like Aunt May going, "What the fuck, Peter? Why are you on drugs?" And this feels a lot less severe in comparison. And as a reminder of Peter's rebelliousness, I guess he dug out Uncle Ben's army jacket with the alien thing on the back. Mm-hmm. I guess just to spite her. I don't know. I think it's really funny if he brought it out just to give Aunt May the finger. He's like, "Hey, Aunt May, look what I've found and ruined. Next issue, Peter and Black Cat booty call.
All right.
It's in the book. Don't.
God almighty damn. All right, Adam, your thoughts on this issue?
The art's good as always. I don't know. It was a decent conclusion. Sometimes Hobgoblin's voice seemed weird to me. Like, I don't know, just talking about.
He feels way too open about his plans. Like, here's the problem I caused, and here's how I'm going to solve it. Here's how I'm going to make a shitload of money off of drugging the population of New York.
And it just, I don't know, him talking about pickleball or whatever the hell it was. I was like, okay, like it's like.
It reminds me of Zemo in Nonstop Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's weird when Kelly does this with the villains and he tries to make them like somewhat hip. Yeah, like I don't know. It's odd. Like I don't know if you do that with like do it with the side characters that we don't really care about. Like do it with Brian. No one cares about him, so you can have him talk like an idiot.
These guys are going to exist past this run. You can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. The Aunt May scene was okay.
I memed about it, but I liked it. It felt like a neat wrap up to the flashbacks, so it kind of worked for me.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing, and I'm. This is like the last flashback, maybe, so that was a plus. But the flashbacks were whatever. I guess I'm interested in seeing what they do with Brian later, just because, like, I don't know. There's got to be something going on with that later.
I'm relatively certain he's the guy who's working with Hobgoblin, and he just wanted to cut off a loose end.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like there's something. Like you're right that I think there's something more to it than what Kelly's letting on.
I mean, I hope. I get, because it's like, I don't know. A new supporting character is fine, but will they stick around? I mean, maybe. I don't know.
You know what? I'll give the book credit that for all the mystery boxing that the Wells run and Spencer run set up, this arc
is pretty straightforward. And
yeah, even though it does allude to a larger storyline, it's relatively self-contained. I kind of appreciate that it doesn't like hang us on the doesn't hang us with like the what did Peter do for like a year. It's just like Peter needs a new job. He gets a job. He fights the Hobgoblin. It's relatively straightforward. And I appreciate that.
It's pretty basic stuff, and that's fine. Like I think they need that after the Wells run being so polarizing,
right? And 8 deaths.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, and that was just filler, so it's like that was
true. But it is kind of like, we'll talk about it in issue 6. I guess I'll stick around a bit for issue 6, just do the recap because I'm funny like that.
I'll do the recap of Giant Sized.
Oh wait, we're doing Giant Sized?
I didn't read any of that, so.
So it's just gonna be me and the grumpy old man talking about the Giant Sized Spider-Man?
I guess so.
I guess. Yeah, the thing is, like the Aunt May thing was fine, but like I said, it's like when you think about it, it's like, man, like we just had them reconcile about something at the beginning of the last run,
and then she was barely there for most of that run. So it feels kind of weird that they're having this argument yet again, where Peter's like, "Oh, I'm disappointing Aunt May again."
Do they have to do this now? Like, is this what? Are they going to do this every new writer coming on for a run? Like, Aunt May's mad at Peter for some reason in the first arc, but by the end of it, they make up and everything's fine. And then it's like, I don't know. It just seems too. Why? It's like, Kelly, why are you doing that?
For all Slot's faults, he never like lean too hard into Aunt May being like over and over being disappointed.
Right.
Like, I went back and reread Big Time, and I was surprised by how little like Aunt May chastising Peter there was. There's more of it in like Parker Industries era where she's like, "Oh, Peter, have grandbabies with whoever you touch. Have grandbabies with Mockingbird. Have grandbabies with Anna Maria. Even though I'm scared they'll be genetically defective. Have babies." You don't remember that bit from Superior?
Yeah,
I
I
remember
remember it.
it wasn't that. It was like more subtle than that, but yeah.
I mean, that's the underlying implication.
Yeah, I was gonna say. One thing I have noticed about this run, and just is that the covers for the next issue, when they put the covers in the back of the issue, don't have the trade dress, which I think is very interesting.
Didn't they used to do that?
I'll have to use that.
Yeah, they usually had some sort of trade, like some sort of Amazing Spider-Man on there, and now they'll do that on like the solicitations, but not in the actual like comics, because like obviously, the end of next issue has this new character here.
I'm wondering if it's because JR's layers aren't as built in. Like on issue 5, the logo is broken up into the fight scene on the cover.
Yeah, let me look. I've actually got the physical copies like right here, so let's see. Oh yeah, it is into the actual cover, but like, yeah. So that's there's no Marvel logo obviously on there. Oh, no.
I was a little surprised, and I will kind of get into a bit of this next issue, but I was a little shocked there wasn't any closure on the Shay stuff in this arc. Because, like, in issue 3, she's calling Peter, like, Peter, I just had a terrorist attack at my work. Please call me. I want you to hug me so bad. And then he never calls her back or talks to her or mentions her by name at all.
Whoops.
Okay, well, it's just
Whoops.
I guess it's just on the JR stuff, because, like...
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Marvel's insistence on dragging JR back for the 70,000th time, once again showing him favoritism.
Well, he not even doing the book he wants to do.
He's doing a Millar. You know what? I bet that the Spidey in space thing, where Blaraz does the space stuff and Romita Jr. does the New York stuff, I bet it's so he can do he can double dip with Millar's Kickstarter. Because he's doing that book with Millar, Psychic Sam or something. I just realized
that's actually been on. He kind of alluded to working with Mark Millar back a year ago, so that may have already been done.
I don't know. He might still be doing the consulting or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he probably gets paid better by Millar than Marvel.
Who knows?
Issue number 5.
Old man, your thoughts on issue number 5?
It was okay.
What an anticlimactic answer.
Pretty much.
I mean, I enjoy this plot line better in the 85 Batman. Getting people drug on household products.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a very Hobgoblin type of story. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense for the history of the character for her to go, ooh, drugs and cola. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I think it would be better with a different villain. I mean, there are villains in
Cardiac.
Spider-Man. Yeah, anybody than Hobgoblin, because it just doesn't make sense. I mean, Hobgoblin, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, wants to be an evil capitalist.
I'm on the Facebook.
I mean, that's kind of his evil capitalism is kind of his plot here, though.
Yeah, but it was never.
That's kind of a Kingsley thing. I mean, his entire thing is just being evil capitalist.
Yeah, but never evil drugs. You know, I mean,
right? Yeah, true.
Well, I mean, he's gone through a couple of different things before. Up until recently, he was franchising supervillains. So, I mean,
yeah, but at least that's interesting.
No, I know. I wish they had kept that angle. I kind of
Here,
miss
kid,
that.
have a Coke. It's laced with LSD.
Hey, kid, have some fentanyl.
I mean, come on. But it's like I said, it's okay. It's a good start. I personally think it would have been better if it was one issue less, but it is what it is.
I guess as a stock Spider-Man story, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not as bad as 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, thank God. But there's the whole flashback stuff kind of ruined the rhythm for me. The white toast.
I was kind of hoping that Peter, that like the flashbacks would lead up to like Peter cutting himself off from Brian because he was a bad crowd and influence.
Oh no, we're saving Brian to be the big evil guy towards the end of the run.
No, I know, but like I was hoping there would be a bit more like introspection on why Peter never talks about Brian, aside from they didn't think to create him until now.
Oh, we all have friends like that. It's like me and Zach. He doesn't talk about me.
No, I know, but it's plot relevant. Well, not your friendship with Zach, but like Peter's friendship with Brian.
No, like we all have a friend like that. Yeah, say, oh, how you doing? Oh, this is my friend. This is my friend. Oh, this is Walter. I mean, even though you have friends like that, like they're friends, but they're not the inner circle friends. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know, but I guess what I'm saying is that, like, you know, they made a huge deal out of Brian coming back, and it feels like they were leading up to something with the flashbacks of like why Peter never talks about him. And I'm wondering if they'll explore that later, but I also just, it feels kind of weird that like, oh, they were actually just friends all along, and I guess Peter just forgot about him.
Well, I guess
they implied he was a bad influence.
He's not going to be around after the end. I'm surprised Shay's still here. I mean, these aren't supporting characters. This is just paintings in the background for Spider-Man.
I wonder if Shay is like, I don't want to say editorial's Poochie, but I wonder if Shay is here because she's meant to be like the editorial team's kind of stand for like a normal love interest. And even though Wells leaves, that position is maintained by Shay in Kelly's run.
But the problem is like the Brian problem and the Shay problem is
we know they're gone.
One, we know where they're gone. We know there's not going to be any real character development with any of them. And if they do get any character development, you know they're going to die.
Or it's going to be undone by the next writer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the real lack of supporting character is what's missing in this book. I mean, yeah, I know the next issue we get Black Cat. Yay! And, yippee! And then we have that old bitch Aunt May still here. But, okay. You know, it's the art. I gotta say, the art in this book, wonderful. I loved it. The fighting scenes are dynamic. It's honestly the best art I've seen in a Spider-Man book in a really long time. I mean, just getting the book for the art is worth the cover price, to be honest.
Speaking of the art, you want to talk about the next issue where John Romita Jr. comes back?
No.
Well, too bad. Anyways, ASM number 6, written by Joe Kelly, art by Jazzy John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, and colors by Marcio Menez. So anyways, Peter's feeling good. His mental state is tied to his employment. He's got a fucking Game Boy PS Vita format. What's a memory card for some reason? Anyways, I guess someone kidnapped a senator.
I think it was supposed to be a Nintendo Switch, but I could be wrong.
He's playing his game. He's playing Journey into Mystery. Get it, guys? Mythology gag. Haha. Anyways, Peter, I guess I hate the way Romita Jr. draws glass breaking. It looks like he's punching into his own web, and that looks stupid. Anyways, Peter saves the senator, and he goes to work at Rand Enterprises, which looks like a brick and mortar store and not like a giant campus in the middle of the city. I guess John Romita Jr. doesn't like drawing big buildings. He just likes drawing storefronts. So anyways, he's talking to Dr. M.O. or Dr. O.M. My apologies. And she's like, wow, Peter, your attendance is dog shit, but your work is really good. So I guess that counts for something. And she's talking about like, you know, something's happening in her world and she wants to test Peter she wants to throw the baby Peter in the deep end, see if the baby can swim or drown in a leadership position. And then Brian comes in quoting The Last of Us, and Peter goes with lunch to with fucking George Santos, who's lost 20 pounds and looks like the dweeb from Legend of Korra season 4. Suddenly Tombstone's here because I guess John Romita Jr. really wanted to draw some more Tombstone. Gives Peter some info on like Hobgoblin goons doing Queen Cola shit, and Peter decides on the Upper West Side to go on a stakeout, and he's staking out the site, and Nick Lowe says, I miss Zeb Wells in his editor's note. Counterpoint, I don't. Good riddance. Anyways, Peter's taking a sip of his soda and playing on his Nintendo Switch Vita when in comes Black Cat. And she's kind of inquisiting on what's going on. Their goals are like barely mutually aligned, so it all works out, I guess. They're going to team up. And Black Cat's asking, like, hey, how's the nurse? And it flashes back to Midtown, where Peter's talking with Shay, talking about Peter being kind of off on a day. And Shay goes, oh, hey, I'm going on a date because we are not exclusive, and I think it's okay that you're banging Black Cat while you're dating me at the same time. That's great. Tag it or bag it, Peter. Maturity. Have a good night, stud. I guess that's not what she says, but I don't care. Anyways, Black Cat's interrogating Peter some more. She goes, hey, do you want to have sex? Not in as direct words as I would say.
Want to fool around is what she says.
Yeah, she basically does an Ultimate Spider-Man number 11 that MJ does, where she says, hey, you want to fool around? And Peter's like, hey, yeah, I'm kind of down. And Black Cat says, hey, what would Aunt May think? And then Peter is at feast with Aunt May earlier, and Aunt May's like, hey, so I'm like 1,000 years old and I'm going to die someday, so maybe you should get stabilized in your personal life. And we turn around, and it's Dr. Bromwell from Spectacular Spider-Man, I guess. He's here giving her lunch. He may or may not be Aunt May's new love interest and or Hellgate. But
why would he be Hellgate?
I don't fucking know, dude. I'm just speculating.
That doesn't make any sense.
It just sounds convenient. It's
I'd rather him be Hellgate than Aunt May's latest hookup.
Remember Joe Kelly? Or remember when Peter comes back to find Jonas?
I don't want to remember. Shut up.
Anyways, okay, Zach, you can't deny this guy looks like Dr. Bromwell from the Spec cartoon, right?
He does.
Yeah, so anyways, Dr. Bromwell's like, hey, I hope that wasn't your best night for your aunt's sake. Hey, here's some corn. Anyways, back to the present. They've got movement on Kingsley goons dropping in. And Peter and Felicia are like really horny, and I don't know if I like that or not. Anyways, meanwhile, at Oscorp, Norman says, hey, lawyers, I'm not the Green Goblin anymore. Let's go fight Hobgoblin. Peter leaves and says, hey, Norman, glad you're on my side these days. Go get him, Tiger. And Peter and Felicia are about to jump in and fight the Kingsley goons, and they hear, greetings, it's me, Ares, from, what was it, Hercules? And something Hercules? I don't know. Hey, honored prince of the steel silk, the gate stands open for you. To be continued, I guess. I don't really give a shit. To be continued. Someone please say something that isn't me.
Well,
okay, first of all, I gotta address this comment. Shay is not the version. Shay is not Paul. Okay.
Yeah, Shay's a little likable.
Paul is completely unlikable as a character. There's no redeeming value to Paul whatsoever.
Now, in fairness to Matt, I don't think Marvel or Nick Lowe or Kelly or whoever doesn't seem very intent on giving Shay much more dimension, again, because, like Walter said, we're back in the problem of these characters will be gone eventually, so who gives a shit?
Okay, all you gotta do is look at Shay and say, oh, white paint. It's dry. And then move on.
Flat sheen.
Yeah, flat. I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and do my review if no one has any objection.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Even if you did, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Listen here, old man.
Rude.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, Adam. I set that up for you.
You kind of did. That was well done, Adam.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one, I don't like the artwork. I have never liked Romita Jr.'s artwork. It just
You've never liked it? Really?
No, I haven't.
That's
I haven't
interesting.
liked it. I haven't liked it's. I mean, look at the cover here, and it doesn't, to me, feel like I believe these characters actually could exist. It's so stiff. It's so.
What's wrong with Peter's eyes?
It's unappealing to me. Okay, there's too many lines in characters' faces. I mean, as much as I don't like Aunt May, I don't need to see Aunt May look like an atlas for a trip to California with so many damn lines. No, she looked like she's a horrible burn victim, which I do wish she would burn up in a fire and be cremated and tossed into the Hudson Bay.
Damn.
But,
Jesus Christ.
but overall, as far as the story goes, I mean, the little mystery with Tombstone, it's slightly interesting. The personal relationship stuff, what's the word you kids use today? Was cringe.
Oh.
It was cringe. Open relationships.
Okay, I just want to jump in here. This is not an open relationship. This is not even close to that.
Oh, this is Ross and what's her face on a break from Friends.
Rachel.
Ross and Rachel on a break from Friends. It wasn't funny then, and it ain't funny now.
It's casual dating. Like, it's not a big.
Yeah.
Casual dating. It ranks up there with casual herpes.
What the
fuck?
Well, hang on. Well, hang on. There's just between casual dating and hooking up all the time and hooking up with multiple people and just,
He's sleeping with Black Cat.
it was
Okay.
I didn't take it literally the way I guess you guys are.
I'm taking this as very un-Peter
Zach,
Parker-like.
Zach, I don't disagree. I don't agree with Walter's point overall, but I think that the perfectly conditioned silver hair on his jacket is there meant to imply he's banging Felicia.
Yeah, it's put this.
Now,
it's very un-Peter Parker-like. That's my problem with it.
One of the things, well, cause that page is weird because it's kind of like I'm almost reading it a little bit as like Peter's like, yeah, I have my Peter Parker girlfriend and my Spider-Man girlfriend.
I think that's
and
what
I'm
Kelly
like,
wants. Kelly's always floated the idea of like Peter gets like gets a personal life girlfriend and a superhero side piece. That's kind of been Kelly's MO.
What I'm alluding to here is like then Shay's like, oh, I'm dating someone else too, and he's like, wait, what? And it seems like he wants his cake and he wants to eat it too, but like she can't almost. And then he's like,
well, no, I
think that's my problem with that whole page. Though.
Yeah, and then he's like, but then he says, admitting we see other people feels very extra mature, and it's like, okay, and then it swings around. It's I don't know. It's a weird. They can be, It just feels like Peter's like not being truthful, and then he's like he's like, okay, well that means we're actual adults, that we're seeing many people and this is just a casual thing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. It's just kind of
okay.
It doesn't bother me. I think people who lost their mind over this, one need to take a Xanax. It's a comic book.
I'm not losing my mind over it. I just think
my
Peter.
opinion on
think Peter at first just seems like he's like, oh, like I can do this, but can she?
I think the way
wait, she's doing it. Like,
I'll be hang on. I'll be charitable to Peter that he doesn't seem to be like upset with it. I just think on paper, it's one thing to know that you can date other people when you're seeing somebody, but it's kind of another thing to see it in practice. And it's just like he seems not necessarily bothered by it, but more just like, oh, I wasn't expecting this to be like an in practice thing. It's more just an on paper.
But then it's kind of shitty though that he's doing it and like he thinks like, oh, like,
you're going to do it? How dare you?
He doesn't have that moral assigning a moral indignation. He's just kind of surprised that Shay is actually committing to that angle.
So I agree. I'm agreeing with Neil on in principle. The whole thing with the page with Peter and Felicia, with the whole want to fool around thing. I think it was just Felicia trying to put Peter off his game. They didn't actually fool around.
Well, yeah. I think maybe they fooled around.
I think they fooled around.
I think they fooled around.
I don't know what book you're reading.
Not in this scene where it keeps flashing back and then coming back to the present. I don't think they fooled around in this scene, but the flashback where Peter and Shay are talking is implying that they have in the past.
Right. Yeah. Now, there was the fooling around between the two characters during 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. I was saying in that scene where they're staking in the stakeout, it was Felicia's trying to throw Peter off his game, and she's flirting with him. It's one of those. It's probably one of my biggest gripes about Kelly. Has always been he has been a Black Cat Peter stan for.
And the problem with that is I kind of wish, and Zach and I talked about and Kelly sat down and did a rewrite of the Wells era.
Yeah,
and the Peter Felicia situationship, I feel like people would be more receptive to it if they were just honest with their intentions.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it would work in practice. It's more just an in theory kind of thing in my head. But I think that Marvel kind of flip flopping on whether Felicia's like the new love of my life, and oh no, we're just friends. And then now Kelly's coming in with the third option of they banging on the side. I feel like the inconsistency of that is what makes it so irritating.
Oh yeah,
my thing about the difference I will say between this and the previous times Kelly has written Peter and Black Cat together, this feels a lot more organic than the other stuff, like the Brand New Day stuff.
It benefits greatly from them knowing each other's identities.
Absolutely.
The problem with Brand New Day especially is that they do the whole the mask stays on kind of, and that's fucking cringy and stupid.
It's so contrived. It's such a contrived thing because you have this magic thing literally hovering over Peter, preventing the two of them from being able to physically see each other when 98% of their bodies are naked. It's just it makes no sense. It never made any sense. It was a weird kink thing that they tried to make it into. It just was not. And look, I don't kink shame.
I kink ask.
I question things when it comes to certain kinks, but I'm not going to shame anybody for their kinks. But at the end of the day, this is far better written interactions between Peter and Felicia because Felicia knows Peter Parker Spider-Man.
To add on to that, the problem with their previous attempts at Kelly's previous attempts at having them together, quote unquote, is the albatross, like you said, of the secret identity hanging over them. Now that they are honest, I guess for lack of a better term, now that they are dating each other and know each other's secret identities, it feels like Kelly's allowed to play with the leash a bit more. He's allowed to play a bit more.
I bet he does.
Shut up. But he's allowed to kind of let the dialogue flow a bit more organically than Peter having to go, what about the sex with the mask on? And Felicia goes, shut up, have sex with me. He's allowed to be a bit more playful with them as far as dialogue because they know each other. And I think that...
I think the main problem is, okay, when you're having this type of story with, you got one relationship with Shay that is coming off more like Betty Brant. Where,
yo, this is Wolfman era, Peter. We're so back.
okay, I mean, that's what it's coming off as with Shay, that they're not really dating, they're just really good friends. That they're trying to do will they or won't they type situation, which is not really working.
It's also kind of like an implication that Peter and Felicia are just friends with benefits, which is always just they
just icky.
Again, if Marvel was more honest with it, I feel like that would be not necessarily like the best solution for them, but it would be an acceptable one. Again, if Marvel was more honest about their intentions.
Marvel would just pick one and go with it, we wouldn't even have this conversation.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I guess I just feel like that interaction between Peter and Shay, it's like just questionable. It's weird. Like,
yeah.
I do want to give
thinking about it more. It's like, I don't know. It's like don't tell me that you're dating other people, I guess, is what he wants. I don't know.
It's just say they're friends, and I think it'll be a lot more interesting.
This does tie back to the I think the main problem with the Peter Shay thing is that, again, they're inconsistent on it, in that Wells' run had Peter dating Shay ostensibly to move on from MJ, and they became like an actual couple, and then Kelly breaks them up midway through 8 Deaths, and then he gets them kind of back together before 8 Deaths ends, so his run can start off with them being like, are we dating or are we not? Oh, we're not exclusive, so we can see other people on the side. So the problem with the Peter Shay relationship is there's too much ambiguity about it. It's also the same problem that Peter and Felicia have, where the ambiguity is just not conducive to the storyline.
I mean,
I feel like Kelly hasn't threaded that needle yet.
It's kind of sad that the main topic we're all discussing isn't actually anything to do with, I guess, the Spider-Man story arc going on here.
I want to give some. I know that was. I kind of wanted to springboard off of your review, and that was like the main thing that I felt like latching onto. I do want to give Kelly some credit. He knows how to structure a story.
Well, I was getting to that. He's given us something to talk about. All right, it's a lot better from what I understand from the Wells run. Am I upset about the Shay Black Cat triangle thing? No, not really, because it's something to talk about. It is negative, but not a negative in a bad way, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. But
okay.
I gotta give Kelly some credit that, like, the book is very brisk with its pacing. We go through multiple scenes, and it doesn't feel like in the Wells run where it feels like I'm constantly dragging my feet so we can drag out the Peter mystery of what happened in the 6 months.
You're not doing this. What's the point? Get to it.
Yeah, like the book's mission statement has been answered. We know what's going on. The main mystery of, like, Peter's friend / Hellgate, more or less answered at this point. Or we know enough to keep the book moving.
This issue is basically like, let's catch up with the supporting cast. Let's see a day in Peter's life, more or less, with his everything going on. Let's set up some subplots. Let's introduce the new villain.
And that works because those first 5 issues, we talked about that the first 5 issues are relatively self-contained as far as being its own story. So this issue is a pretty decent jumping on point to kind of catch up on for a first story reader to catch up on what's going on, introduce new things.
It's a setup issue that doesn't feel like a setup issue.
Yeah, it feels like actually pretty good continuation of where we left off.
But overall, I feel this issue is a lot better than the last one, because I felt the last one, the arc went too long. I think the first arc would have been better with 4 issues, but you got to wait for the trades.
You know what? You kind of bring up a good point about the first arc running a bit too long. I thought the first arc was, like, pretty good overall, but if you'd had Peter overcome Hobgoblin in like in the Coke factory. I don't know what else to call it. In the factory.
The soda factory, yeah.
Yeah, and Peter overcomes Hobgoblin, and Hobgoblin flees to fight another day, even though his operation's been crippled. You probably could have had the exact same story without that 5th issue. I guess Laraj just wanted to flex a bit more, and they got to stretch it out for the trade, like you said.
Yeah, but you also have this issue as issue 5 to sort of set up what's going on further, and still have all the up-to-dates on the supporting cast. Because it kind of would make a lot more sense at that point.
Yeah, because then we don't get Laura's Black Cat. That annoys me. We didn't get Laura's Black Cat.
At least the first arc wasn't 6 issues, because then that would have been too much.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
I haven't really. I like it. You guys have been kind of taking all the airtime, which is great. I love it. But I hadn't had a chance to really kind of.
Well, we're trying to tell you can go on vacation now, Zach.
This is my show. Now I'm the captain.
No. Oh God, too much power. Drunk with power. So here's my thing. I actually liked both of these issues. I think but you're right. I think if you take away all the flashback scenes, honestly, you could have probably made that 4 issues. Like,
I don't even think you need the final fight at Rand.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm not going to complain about getting that final fight because it was a really well choreographed and structured fight, and we got a bit more meat on the bone as far as like providing that resolution to Peter and May's relationship woes in the past and present all coming together. It's the Sonic generations of our time. But as far as like the actual story, you probably could have left a bit more mystery on on the bone if you just had it 4 issues. Now, in fairness, that leads to an alternative argument that it would ruin the self-containment of the first arc.
Yeah.
So I guess in that vein, it's a pick and choose of whether you want a tight first arc or if you want a bit more left to explore later on.
Right. So I agree with that. Then issue 6, here's the thing. I think I liked issue 6 more in terms of like it's kind of weird because issue 6 kind of felt like we're doing kind of a semi reset of the board a little bit from the first arc, right?
No, I don't think so because as far as the job stuff,
the jobs like because here's my thing: the way the job interaction scenes go, and the way he's interacting with the doctor, it's like okay, she went from like hating him to like you're just being eccentric, which is. I guess there's just a tonal inconsistency with that.
I think they needed a bit more. There needed to be a bit more meat on the bone in between, and they probably should have dedicated like the 5th issue to like Peter showing fucking what's her face, Myra Osmond Milani or something, Dr. OM or something. I'm gonna call her Dr. OM. Like his scientific acumen to show like why he's valuable. Like you remember issue 648, the first issue of Big Time. Yes. Where Peter, fucking what's her face, Sajani was her name. Yeah. Her reverbium thing goes into overdrive, and Peter has to like put in the super math to shut down the machine.
Yeah.
And then they quiz him, and he shows what he does, and they give him the job. I feel like that would have a scene like that in the 5th issue where Peter has to like slip out of the costume and show what he can do as Peter Parker to show. Especially because she's planning to give him like leadership of the entire division.
Yeah, and that again, like it's like okay, can Peter Parker be a leader of a division? Yes. Do I trust these? Do I? Yeah, it's telling us and not showing us because again, I just feel like that these issues are kind of being written at the same time as the Pepe the Raz issues, and so I don't think he quite got the vibe yet. By the time he got to the end of that arc, and then
Just one of those things too. It just feels like Oscorp again a little bit, but I guess we're getting a little more of it than we got.
I think the difference between this and Oscorp is that it feels a lot more intimate as a setting. Like we don't have like Peter working with the CEO. He's just working with like the leader of a division of the group rather than just like the ambiguous. What's the fucking project they're working on the entire first half of the book? Like a plasma jet engine or something.
I don't know. Maybe
like his work feels a lot more smaller scale for one thing. So that feels a lot more not necessarily. He's still kind of in that weird like Marvel super science area, which I don't think Peter really belongs in at all. But he's in a much more tight knit group. It reminds me a lot more of like the setting of Horizon, where Peter could go and hang out with like, what's their fucking names? Grady, the Horizon gang.
Grady Scraps,
Bella Thorne from Casey Undercover or something.
Oh God, what was it? So Johnny, and then it was always
Uatu, the little guy.
The little dude, and then you had God, what's his name? The main guy from
Morbius.
Horizon. Not Morbius. The other.
He was there, but Max Modell. Yeah. Okay. The difference here is that like Peter working at Oscorp was very like abstract. Like they tried to do. Have you guys read Jeremy Adams' Flash run?
No.
This is important. This is. I'm not just saying it to get Javi to watch the show. Wally works for Mr. Terrific at like Terrific Corp, and he specifically structured the job so that Wally can come and go as he pleases to be the Flash. And they try to do something like that with Peter at Oscorp, and it just doesn't work. So I feel like this at least feels a lot more structured in a way that like you can see Peter like going and getting lunch. Like it cuts to like Peter and fucking George Santos getting a pasta at a food truck. Like this feels a lot more manageable than just like, oh, Peter's working on a jet and he can be Spider-Man whenever he wants.
Yeah,
like there are limitations to the realm of time and space.
Right. So my other thing is too, I felt like Tombstone was used pretty effectively here. I know it's basically, this is sort of the backdoor pilot for Black Cat series. One of the covers, which I was trying to get to load, but it just decided not to work for me.
For the Black Cat ongoing, or
yeah. So we got Big Gleb, the Black Cat ongoing, and he did one of the variant covers here for the issue. Apparently Tombstone's going to be heavily involved in the series, so that's part of the reason we're getting some of this Tombstone stuff. This is also kind of notable, I think, because this is the first time that Romita Jr.'s drawn Black Cat and Spidey together in Amazing Spider-Man since the 80s.
No, he drew them in the Wells run.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
yes.
He did. I forgot.
And Peter asked her on a date and almost threw up.
That's right. Again,
she was so nervous.
I didn't. Oh yeah, that freaking cringy ass scene. I do like the artwork. I know I'm in the minority. I got to meet John.
So let me be clear. I think that his art is still okay. He just needs to not be on Amazing Spider-Man anymore.
I mean,
I think his art is fine here. It really is. Like the coloring is just, it does kind of like it's just not great coloring for him. I think still.
I
still don't like it.
God Almighty! I'm trying to give my review, and everybody.
I got on my high horse about this, but Marvel really needs to let new talent on. Like if you gave the book Rolaz, Gleason, McGinnis, and Big Gleb god tier rotation, but we're stuck with JRJR for the sixth time.
But here's the thing. Part of the reason that they use JRJR is that he can pump out a lot of books. And unfortunately, you have to go with quantity over quality. A lot of time. I don't misunderstand. I'm just that's the issue. You add more artists. That is the solution to the problem. Do I want to see more Patrick Gleason? Do I want to see more Ed McGuinness? Maybe less Ed McGuinness, but because he's just coming up. Well, here's my thing. Like, give me less Ed McGuinness and more Gleb.
Now I'm okay with Gleb being
I don't
Black
mind
Cat title. I'd rather see Gleb like spread his wings on the Black Cat title than just do ASM. I think he draws a really good Black Cat.
Yeah, and look, I am all for, and I'm gonna listen. I'm picking up the Black Cat book. I know Ashley's gonna pick it up. I sent, Ashley got this issue as well, because it's kind of the backdoor pilot. But I'm excited for it. But I mean, if I have my druthers, I don't mind Romita Jr. coming in for a few arcs, street level stuff, Earthbound stuff. I get why they're doing it. It's playing to his strengths. The issue is, I think, with this particular team between the two artists is that they are so drastically different.
Yeah.
It's like going from Mike Deodato Jr. to Jack Kirby. Kind of very like a similar style, right? Where John Romita Jr.'s stuff is very more basic, more workmanlike, more classical. And then you got the hyper detailed Mike Deodato Jr., so it very much gives me that vibe. And I remember when we were making the leap in the JMS run from Romita Jr. to Deodato Jr., it's a very jarring thing. And I kind of feel we're getting this jarringness with this. Now, I kind of get it just based on this one issue, why they did it this way. And then we're going to jump back. I think I'll have to double check. I think John does 3 or 4 issues. And look, I fully will admit my bias with John Romita Jr. I got to meet him. Hell, I got artwork from him. I enjoy his stuff. So my bias is going to show, and that's fine. But I have to freely admit that. So I just think that the overall tone of the story, the Aunt May getting another love interest just means that he's going to die. Because we all know that the greatest Black Widow of them all in the Marvel universe is Aunt May. I mean, between Ben and
do we count Nathan Lubinsky?
Yes, you have to count Nathan. I mean,
I thought you were talking about like married.
I mean, relationship. The only relationship that survived her wrath was Otto Octavius, and that's because he was.
That's because he ran away.
But even then, he dies in the arc, and we have the ghost of Doc Ock, if you guys recall. So,
can we agree that Aunt May finally has to die inside of a wood chipper already?
Listen,
why the wood chipper? Why so visceral?
Okay, you're preaching to the choir here, there, old man. I have been on the old Biddy needs to die train since 1996 when she died the first time.
That's the last time she was important.
Yeah, well,
JMS.
Well, actually, that wasn't the first time she died. She died like 3 times before that, but it's fine.
That's resuscitation, though.
That's when death comes up to Caesar and goes.
Listen, ever since the death of the actress, things just have not been the same. Okay, but like I don't know. I'm like, okay, Ricardo. I'm mildly interested, which is better than like I don't give a shit. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, so overall, I think
if anything, it's interesting to see how Kelly would write an Aunt May relationship with another guy. Just
watch out, Ricardo already be married and he's having a side fling with Aunt May.
Oh God,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh no, let's not.
I saw that look, Zach.
Let's not do that. So, we do have a voicemail.
Are we not going to do the giant size issue?
Yeah, let me blow through this freaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave because I stayed longer than I intended to. I did a whole other issue for you.
I know you did. I mean, it's gonna. I'm gonna blow through this recap if you just want to stay on. Because
no, I'm good. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Neil.
Bye, Neil.
So, okay. So this has got multiple stories to it. Let me pull up the giant size. Where did it go? Where's giant size Spider-Man? Too many books. There it is. All right. Giant size Spider-Man #1. The first story is written by Kevin Smith. Giuseppe Camuncoli and Danielle Ormonde are the artists. And man, can you tell that they've got 2 different artists working on this book. So basically, it's Peter is fighting Mysterio. Then Peter gets a hold of one of Mysterio's gauntlets and creates the Sinister 69 because it's written by Kevin Smith. And Peter defeats Mysterio, but in the process rips the seat of his pants. So now he's having to run around with his ripped pants to different parts of the Marvel universe. He goes to help for Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange says, "I can't make you magic pants." Then we go to the world. He said, "Hey, maybe you should go to consult the world's smartest man because there's going to be a movie coming out very soon called Fantastic Four: First Steps." And we have the Fantastic Four fighting because thanks all to Psycho Man. So Peter then, gets a hold of Psycho Man's control box, converts everything back to normal, and Reed decides to help him, get some new stretchy pants. The end. So, Peter then goes to fight Carnage, and Carnage tries to stab him, and it turns out, hey, he has unstable molecules for his pants and the rest of his costume, and so now there's no more ribs. So, congratulations. I wished he would have stayed because there's a Gods reference that I don't fucking know, Neil. Anyway, Giant Size Spider-Man Part 2, 616 Day. So today, the day that this takes place is June 16th, and so Peter wakes up at 6:16 a.m. and he keeps seeing 616, and then all of a sudden, Wynn from the Gods miniseries that Nick Lowe just absolutely adores shows up. But this is I forgot to give the creative team, but I'll do it at the end. So basically, Wynn and Peter have to fight this monstrosity from a different universe. We have different timelines, have different holes. So you see the original Human Torch, you see the original Fantastic Four, you see Storm, you see Ms. Marvel. They're all interacting with one another. We get Rocket Raccoon, and eventually everything gets put back to normal. Happy 616 Day. And then, Eternity basically says Happy 616 Day. So the creative team for that was Al Ewing, Mark Buckingham is the artist, Rochelle Rosenberg is the color artist, Joe Carmanga is the letterer. So then we get to Chip Zdarsky returning to write Spider-Man with Keifu, the artist, where basically Peter meets a brand new superhero that's like very fast, and apparently he's trying to prevent the death of certain people, and so lots and lots of stuff. Turns out Peter helps take care of his this new superhero's dad. Iron Man shows up for about 5 seconds and gets an offer to join the Avengers. We then get to Amazing Spider-Man, Prelude to a New Dimension. Michikaku Saki is the writer. Geraldo Sandoval is the artist. It is a tease of the next Spider-Verse story where we have Kid Venom team up because you demanded it. It does have a brief cameo by Mayday Parker, who looks like she needs to eat a sandwich and looks like her back is partially broken. Stay tuned for more of that from Make My Mayday. We get a big giant QR code that only works on 616 Day, which was revealing that Null is back. Congratulations. That's the end of the issue.
You were excited about it as much as I was.
Look.
The first story just killed it. It just killed it.
To me, here's my thing about the first story. Like, I've seen so much better artwork from Giuseppe Camicoli. This is the worst artwork I've seen from him since he started out. There's no telling when this story was actually freaking written. Okay? Like 90. Okay, other than there is Chasm in there and Hallows Eve. Like, most of these, it's just, I don't know. It's arguably the worst Camicoli art I've ever seen. And maybe it's the inks. I don't know, but it looked terrible. The first story
I thought it looked okay. Honestly.
No, listen, I've seen much better Camicoli art, much cleaner Camicoli art. This is just a muddled mess. I love the cover. I think the cover's great. But it just Keifu's artwork has this quality to it that's like, it's not quite Greg Land, but it's like Uncanny Valley for me, where it's so digitalized that I have a hard time with it. I don't care about like any of this stuff. I don't care about the gods. It just seemed like a bunch of backups that they had laying in the inventory drawer they needed to pump out. And they were like, oh, we'll get Kevin Smith and Al Ewing and Chip Zdarsky. It's like, yeah. And then like Mark Buckingham, whom I love. I adore Mark Buckingham. But every story that they've had him do since he's returned to Marvel and Spider-Man has been utter trash. It's just terrible.
I'll give you my quick recap of this whole thing. The first story sucked. Don't ever have Kevin Smith write another Spider-Man story because apparently his mind hasn't grown past the age of 16. Yeah, the second story was okay. I believe that second story had Eternity, the 616 Day. It was okay. I mean, decent backup story, which, like you said, basically the rest of them were okay. You know, it's just that first one. Once you read it, it just killed the mood. It's like, oh dear God, this is so dumb. It's so juvenile. Oh, Spider-Man's running around New York with a hole and his ass is showing.
We've already seen this story multiple times. It was so derivative. Is probably my issue.
And seriously, Sinister 69.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Which, I mean, it was an opportunity for him to draw like all of Spider-Man's villains. I mean,
some of those characters don't deserve to be. Black Cat, I don't think it was ever into Sinister Six.
Oh, I mean, you got Jackal. I mean, it was just an opportunity for him to draw all the Spider-Man's villains.
Yeah, but the 616 Day was good. I really like the last one, Rapid. What I don't remember the name. The introduction of the new hero.
Rapid.
I think. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. But how much was this?
The price on it was $7.99.
Okay, it's $5 too much.
It's again, you know, if you want to read it, go pick it up or read it in other ways. It's not essential, but since you know, it is Amazing Spider-Man, I guess we had to review it. But we never got to Neil's grades, which that's why I didn't want him to freaking leave. But because Jeff, like, part of it is Jeff's freaking voicemail that he left us is specifically targets Neil, so I'm irritated. Anyway, so let me.
I'll play the part of Neil.
Oh God,
I could go on tangents just like him.
All right, let me open the voicemail. So if you guys want to leave a voicemail, you can always leave us a voicemail at 818-925-6631 is the voicemail line that if you want to leave it for the program. So here we go. Here is Jeff.
Hey, this is Jeff. Hope you're all doing all right, Neil. You know what you did.
Oh, playback device. Let's do it. Oh. Okay.
Hey, this is Jeff. Hope you're all doing all right, Neil. You know what you did. Okay, so here's my question, right? I saw the recent review of the Battle World event, and it just made me realize we've had 15 years of derivative frickin' event comics, and I'm just wondering why. Like, can't we just have something new? It's just, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it just we are, I don't know, running out of ideas at the House of Ideas, or do we just need fresh blood and new events? All right.
So here's my thing about the events. The problem is that the direct market responds to events. They just do.
They
sell, and people, you know, it drums up interest. Here's my thing. If Spider-Man does not have an event for 2.5 years, and we're just going to write good quality stories for the next 2.5 years until we get to issue 1000, I'll be happy. I think Adam would be happy. I think most of us would be happy, just because events used to mean something. You know, I've been doing some filling in on the Forgotten Era podcast because I am in that era right now where I'm rereading all those books. You know, slowly but surely getting to the end of volume 1. And the first time we rebooted Spider-Man. And, you know, the thing about that era was outside of issue 250 of Spec, they didn't do a big giant crossover until Spider Hunt, and then they did Identity Crisis, and then shortly after that that was the beginning of the end, right? For that era. But it's like, okay, yeah, They took some time before they started doing the multi-part crossovers because people were exhausted after the Clone Saga. Because it was getting, and the writers were exhausted. I mean, the reason that J.M. DeMatteis left during the Clone Saga was he got tired of writing part 2 of 4. As much as he loved working with everybody, at a certain point, you want to write your own stories, have your own story arcs, have your own storylines, have your own subplots in your own book. And
I agree with you. I do. I would be someone who just recently returned back to reading Amazing Spider-Man. If we could get some, I don't say, hey, I need my hair blow back, which would be impressive with the amount of hair I got on my head. But if we get some decent to good Amazing Spider-Man story to 1,000, I'd be more than happy. Well, events should, my personal opinion on events is they should happen every 5 years. You do a slow build up.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do one every year, it's just.
Well, and that's the thing. If they, I think that some of the discussion behind the scenes with DC and Marvel, why they, they're we want to do these crossovers, but the problem is that DC has like 3-year long plans, and Marvel's basically year-to-year situation.
Fly by our seat of our pants.
It's also because the reason you get these events is that they provide backbones for future IP to mine for the movies. I mean, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars is going to be very, very in tune with the Secret Wars we're going to get on the screen.
That's not bad.
It's just that way that it is with the incursions and that particular type of storylines where you're seeing.
I want Battle World. That's why.
Well, I think there will be a Battle World. What I anticipate happening is you're going to get a mixture of and hopefully the best parts of all the different Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So Battle World, Doom. Doom is a big part of this Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars as well. Like, I think you're going to get the best of all the worlds because it's going narrative wise. All of this is going to lead to the mutants being what drives the MCU. The Fantastic Four and the mutants are going to be what drives the future of the MCU. And so
I do kind of agree with that because. Well, quite frankly, the actors that they had, Chris Evans, RDJ, are getting too old to play superheroes.
Right.
They need to go into a different direction. But as far as the comics go, when I stopped reading Amazing Spider-Man, there was an event every year, and people were getting tired of it. It was like, okay, we need a break. No, here's another event. You got to buy anywhere from 50 to 100 issues if you want the full scope of it. And people are like tired of it.
Well, and we talked about this with Gang War. We've talked about this with Dark Web. We talked about this. I mean, we've talked about this on and off. I mean, even Last Remains and the stuff with Spencer, Hunted, Last Remains, and all that stuff. There was just a lot of stuff, and it just kind of became a whole, derivative type of situation. I am going to acknowledge. Look, Matt,
it's a very good marketing ploy.
Yeah.
Okay, you could promote this and hopefully get a new reader or two, but other than that, it's not necessary, to be honest. Just tell good stories. That's all you need to do.
All right. So Matt Bird asked, real question about Ms. Marvel being everywhere is what if for you guys. To me, I don't rightfully care about her. And that's your opinion, and that's fine. I like Ms. Marvel.
Which Ms. Marvel are we talking about?
Kamala.
Oh, okay.
I like Ms. Marvel. I have no problem with Ms. Marvel. I read G. Willow Wilson's Ms. Marvel run. I thought it was very quaint. I thought it had a lot of earnestness to it. I thought it was intrinsically unique in terms of its perspective. I certainly, as a pasty-ass white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, wouldn't know much about.
You're white?
Shut up. I wouldn't know much about a Muslim girl from New Jersey, from a Pakistani descent. I wouldn't know much about that. And it did a good job of kind of exposing you to that world. And I think that if you've watched if you've read the book and watched Ms. Marvel, I think the spirit and the tone of the book are there. I think her being a fangirl of like different Marvel superheroes in the MCU, she's a big fangirl of Carol Danvers. In the comics, she's a big fangirl for Spider-Man. So yeah, there is some connection there. But you got to know that by going to read the book. And a lot of people will sit there and prejudge the book because it came out during Marvel Now and All New Marvel Now, and it was very much perceived as this social justice agenda stuff. And I judge a book on its merits, not on what I'm told to judge it on.
From a person that hasn't read any of Ms. Marvel, all I heard was good things. I will say this, the only time I've seen anything about the character is in the movie Marvels,
yeah,
where she was the best part of that movie.
Well, and the actress that plays Kamala is in real life a giant Marvel zombie. Love the comics. And so that earnestness that is a part of the character in the comics comes through when she plays the character, because that part of her is there is those things. It's like she's art for the younger.
She is the character,
right? For the younger MCU characters, the actress that plays her is very much to that what RDJ was to Iron Man for so many people.
I mean, it's to have a character is the mess. Brad, you don't know who I am?
No, oh no. It says no filter Walter. What's up, Brad? What's up, man? Thank you for being on for jumping on the program. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you don't have me as a reviewer on your show.
So
you get to miss the masked man.
Yeah, we have to deal with him.
Yeah. He's become our problem now. He left being your problem, and now he's our problem. So I did have Sean Franklin, who I think is a new subscriber. He's like, "Do you think Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield come back as Spider-Man Avengers Doomsday?"
Secret Wars, I think.
Secret Wars.
I don't think it will be. Yeah, if they do come back, it'll be cameos in Secret Wars. I don't.
Maybe they'll tease it in the post credits or something for Doomsday.
I don't think you're going to see any standalone movies. I do think
with everything that we've heard about Brand New Day, the movie, I don't see them showing up there except for maybe in the stand. If they do,
actually, they might set them up there. Yeah, in the post credits.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, but all right. So let's get the. Was it worse disguised than Clark Kent's eyeglasses?
Hey, Brad, I got a serious question. Do you like the background? Guess who it is?
Brad, the background is him. He bought a Groucho Marx beard and eyebrow kit that to represent me in the future, which is just the
best part is I actually had the hoodie, the Spider-Man hoodie.
He has the Ben Riley. He went and bought the Ben Riley hoodie. So the internet will never be the same. All right, so let's give our grades for tonight's issues. So we're doing. Remember, we're doing the out of 10 scale, the point scale. So out of 10, Adam.
For both together or separately, or
you can do both separately if you want.
I'll do separate. 5. I don't know. Let's say 8.7 and 6.
All right, so we got 8.7 for 5. Walter, what's your grade for 5?
I will say a 7.9.
A slight improvement from last issue. 7.9. Mine is 8.2 out of 10. So that's for 5, and then 6, Adam.
I'll give that an 8.1.
8.1 out of 10. All right, Walter.
I have to agree with Adam. I don't have to.
8.1. I'm going to say an 8.4. I liked it a little bit better than you guys did. So that's
counting for taste.
Well, those are the grades for 5 and 6, and then Giant Size Spider-Man. I'm going to give it a freaking 6.5 out of 10, and I like
4.5.
Oof. 4.5 out of 10
for $7.50. No. 4.5.
So that is the grades for all the books tonight. So I like today's issue, Brad. So
it was okay, Brad.
This is what happens when clones reproduce. That's what you were laughing at. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I have the female version of me. My poor daughter looks just like me.
Speaking of kinks, you do have that costume in the closet, don't you?
Now, listen, I'm not breaking the listen.
Should I bring that? Hey, Brad's here. Hey, Brad, I got something special for you.
Oh, God. So let me set this up for those that have not.
Oh, I don't have. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So, oh, God, put that away. No.
Just for you, Brad. Just for you.
That's jackpot with my head awful superimpose. Like, that's like Brad's Photoshop skills. Well, we did talk about kinks earlier on the show, Brad. We didn't kink shame, with all that. I would show myself out. See, you're driving viewers away there, Walter, with that crap. In fact, let me remove Walter from the show. I'm just kidding. All right, but no. At the end of the day, I appreciate the voicemail we got. I appreciate everybody for watching the show, watching the episode. I do appreciate all the comments. So yeah. But does this hobgoblin have Riz like Zemo? No one has Riz like Zemo. Hey, Disney Suzak, he hates Marvel. Sarah says I love Jeff, that she loves Jeff too.
Brad, to answer your question, Zach would have to pay me a lot of money for that.
Listen, I don't want to lose Patreon subscribers, Douglas, if I started doing that. Yeah. From earlier, I said Walter reminded me of Banner from Mystery Man of Bill Bixby's Incredible Hulk series. That's true. That is true. But no, as always, I got to thank Brad Douglas for his support over the years. You're about to celebrate your year 27 online. Just think of the God. For the audio listener, it says
you might as well just come on the show now, Brad.
I should just send you the link at this point. Hang on. We're doing it live. All right, Brian Douglas. All right. Invite. Oh, I don't want to leave the studio. I want to click the invite button. I copy. And all right, here we go. So if Brad shows up, he's got the link. Because the show's going to go off the rails if Brad shows up.
No kidding.
But I want to appreciate him jumping in because I like to jump in on the Spideydude Radio Network. I'm a supporter of Douglas on the YouTubes.
Let me ask you about your shirt there, Mr. Jordan. Is that saying you have merch now?
No, this was a proof of concept shirt that I made using my ex-wife's Cricut and my t-shirt press that I still have.
Take the hint, dude.
I know. So this was just a proof of concept. I've thought about making a shirt that's I need a sublimation printer is what I need in order to make it myself. Because it would probably be based more on the logo on the website. For those that don't know, let me pull it up. And no, it's not on the website. I pulled it. I took it off. I had one that had like Spideydude Radio Network around the logo. So give me a minute. I'm naked.
I'm naked. Take as long as you need.
I have a series of questions that I don't want to ask live on air. Let's not get them out.
Take as long as you need, Brad. We're not in a hurry.
Poor Adam. He's just like, I don't know why I'm still here. It's now become the Brad grumpy old man Zach comedy hour. All right, so
look at him. He's like, yeah, this happens to me every day.
Poor Adam. Poor Adam's gonna be like, I'm not coming on the ASM shows anymore. I'm done. Stick a fork in me.
That made him smile.
So, all right. So let me start doing some of the outro in case Douglas shows up. So I do want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. You see the Patreons up on the screen like Allison, Sydney, Casey, Doug, Ed, Eric, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Joyce, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Lump Moose, Master Dram, Phoenician, RJ, Vanessa, Vicky. Thank you guys for your support, as well as Sarah and Tara as our spectacular patrons, which I think Sarah may have dropped hers. You got our VIPs, the Masked Man, Walter, and Vinkman. You saw him in the comments section if you're watching us live on YouTube, which I really do appreciate if you are still watching at this point, all the way down here. So we see the Friendly Neighborhoods here. They're going to be on the audio edition of the show, so they'll get their audio-only shout-outs. If you haven't already subscribed to the Patreon page, you'll get stuff like Books of X. Me and Neil are about to record some more episodes. You get the video versions of Voices from the Eyrie, our Gargoyles Podcast, so you can see the team there. If you haven't already, check out our Vault series of Clone Saga Chronicles and Spectacular Radio, as well as ASM Classics, which have more episodes in the can. I just got to sit down with Javi and help him edit it. If you haven't already, check out the Salvi Cinema Era podcast, where they're going through the final issues before the Spider-Man Clone Saga. So we're almost going to have coverage of Sal Buscema's seminal run, starting from the beginning of the 80s all the way through until his departure on the 90s on the network, which is going to be kind of cool. Check out the Greg Weisman interview, where we talk a lot about the Spectacular Spider-Men. Make My Mayday. Going to have another episode coming soon. Our most recent one was the conversation with Frogoat. And then the intifada of Transformers continues to infiltrate the airwaves of the Spideydude Radio Network. Find us on the Instagrams and Facebook at Spideydude Radio, at Spideydude Network on YouTube, at Spideydude Radio on Twitter, and the phone number right there, 818-925-6631. You can be like Jeff and call the show. So, Brad, if you're going to jump on, I've already done the outro, but I'm going to give you a little more time. So feel free to comment in the comments. Oh, looky there.
Yo, is this the Thursday night Skype session?
Okay, that is the deepest of deep cuts. I feel like I must explain to those, because we have so many new viewers that do not understand that reference. But
what the hell, Walter? I of all the things YouTube could recommend, this thing came up and I saw you just puffing in a green screen mask. I'm like, what the hell?
It's because we're friends, Douglas.
Yeah.
Friends don't let friends go on the internet in a green mask.
Listen,
Jesus,
it's better than me breaking out the wig and wearing a Spider-Gwen costume. Like
y'all into some kink shit on the Spideydude Radio Network. My God,
I lost a bet, Douglas. That's what happened.
God, you don't have to pay up. You run out. Get out of town.
Brett, it's
Adam,
a bad.
Are you okay? Are you being held hostage? Adam, are you okay?
You can hear the voicemails Walter leaves. It's like we are in a hostage situation.
I told him to lose my number. I mean,
Well, Zach made a bet with me, Brad, and he bet on the wrong team, the Cowboys.
I did.
And in turn, Brad, you have the wonderful opportunity of seeing Zach dressed up as Spidey-Gwen.
Well,
Complete with wig.
You know, unfortunately, I missed that episode, and I guess not unfortunately, I missed that episode.
Listen, I had more hair. I haven't had that much hair on my head since we were doing the show audio only, and you didn't see me. And that was the last time I had that much hair on my head.
Yeah.
So.
Adam, blink 3 times. Are you held hot? Are you okay? Like my man up there.
Listen, Adam has been our stalwart on the show.
The poor guy.
He has been on Yeah, no. Yeah. So, sometimes I wonder why he puts up with us. He's been on every episode of SDE.
Same.
Okay, I'll do this especially for you, Brad.
Oh God! Put on your pants, Jesus! Okay. Put it back on. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man,
Jesus.
So, oh man. First of all, everybody. Well, look, we got a bot.
Don't put the bot comment up.
It's because we said feet pics. They're coming in.
That's
how you know it's time to end the show.
Have I ever wanted to review Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury?
That's a great movie with Michael B. Jordan. Not even kidding.
I have not read the book since high school, but it's probably one of those that I definitely need to reread. I'm not gonna lie. So, dude, this killed me though. Give me a minute. I'm naked.
Yeah. You know,
I'm like, why? Because I have why are you naked in the?
He's on vacation. That's why.
I'm on vacation. Hey, you know,
sometimes you gotta let things breathe, Zach. You gotta let.
It's hot. Your web shooter gets hot. You know.
Oh my God. What a friend we have in Jesus. Oh. I've missed you.
You got to air out your web shooter. You don't want any. You don't want any.
Sometimes you gotta refill your web fluid manually.
Oh, God, how many people are watching, Zach? I'm on the other end. I can't see.
We got 59 alleged viewers.
Oh my Lord! Good God!
So what is going on? Is what Sarah is asking.
Sarah, you should. No,
it was a year ago. So by the way, it was a year ago today. I met Sarah wearing my crawl space shirt at a water.
Oh well, there you go. There you go.
So, fun fact.
Yeah, and nobody wants to meet me.
They drug me in, Sarah. I've been kidnapped. Help me.
So
I'm gonna. Me and Adam, both of us, we're gonna get the hell out of here pretty soon if anybody can find an exit.
There is the leave stream but anyway, speaking of,
I got this blue box in the right-hand corner that says "Stream this to your audience." I wouldn't do it to them. I'm just kidding.
Twice, Brad. Well, here's the thing. Brad's been asking Adam to blink 3 times, so
I'm just gonna hold up a sign like I need money. Get me the hell out of this little box.
Well, Sarah, Brad agreed to cosplay as long as I buy the costume.
Oh
I agreed to shit. What are you talking about?
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching.
Oh God! Thank God, we're wrapping it up.
We are wrapping it up. I already did the outro while you were trying to find your pants. So,
well, now there's the quote of the night. I drew the outro where you're trying to find your pants.
Oh, I hate to tell you, Brad. Sarah approved of you cosplaying.
Oh God!
What am I cosplaying as again? I missed it.
Oh, I haven't thought of it. I'm thinking maybe a Black Cat or Spider-Woman.
Yeah, me in a milk bath is going to go over great.
Before we end the stream,
what the hell happened to Kermit up there? What?
Before we end the stream.
Hi, Kermit. I'm Mickey. Oh gosh.
Okay. So before we end the stream, what is it with you, Walter, and getting us to dress in gender swapped outfits, like me and Spider-Gwen, and like Brad as like Black Cat?
Look how many subscribers you gained when you did it.
Not very many. That was more me.
Can you imagine the DM, Zach, of the people that would like that?
I mean, you got a guy who's willing to have me post feet pictures here on the show. Now imagine what he would pay to see you dressed up.
Do that? God dang.
I have no words.
I've heard of Patreon supporters, not feet supporters.
Well, feetpics.com, I suppose.
Well, that's for OnlyFans.
Next month we're going to announce Spideydude Network OnlyFans.
Oh no, we're not.
We have Spider-Man, Gargoyles, and feet coming up in 2026.
I'm dead. All right. Anyway.
When you got to sit on a gargoyle and look ominous at the top of a building, zoom in on them feet.
Come to Spider-Dude's OnlyFans to see the real Green Goblin.
All right. So
Spider-Man's arch nemesis, Corn.
God Almighty! I'm getting so many Vietnam flashbacks right now. Just
there was a symbiote in Vietnam. Did you see that issue?
There was.
It all comes back to Spider-Man 2, Bailey.
Yeah. All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. If you're listening to us. I don't know if I'm going to edit this last part out. Who knows? I don't know.
I would. And I don't edit shit.
Listen, I still call going live to tape Douglasing. Okay, let's be real. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. If you've been watching us live here on YouTube, if you're still watching, why?
I tuned in on the last 10 minutes and they roped me in. What the hell?
But, keep it up, Sarah. We'll bring you in too.
Don't do it, Sarah.
But everybody, thank you guys. Thank you, Brad, for the cameo appearance.
You're welcome. I'm Stan Lee of this damn thing. And he's dead. Excelsior!
Oh God! Oh, so if you guys want to support the website, obviously go to the Patreon page. Vinkman's face says it all right now. It's just...
What does that mean, Vinkman? Is he happy or sad, or is he a little indifferent? I don't know what that means.
He's like, what is going on? Probably.
What is life?
Yeah. Follow us on the social medias you see up on the screen. I've already mentioned all the shows, but thank you guys for watching. If you are watching us live, and we'll see you. I fell asleep and Brad is on. That's what happened.
Story of my life. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I don't speak an emoji like you do.
All right, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for listening and watching us live here on YouTube. We'll see you next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network.